Well, hello. This is take two. So we have been trying to connect our guest, Julie Johnson, into this chat so that you can be as inspired by her as I was when we had our lovely little conversation at the store. And Julie was telling me about the things that inspire her, and those things inspired me as well. And I really wanted to share them with all of you. Thank you, Catherine, for rejoining. Fully appreciate that. Let's see if we can get everybody joined. And oh, I see you, Julie. I'm going to try. You might want to pop down the street to Synonym Shop because we did it! Yay! Oh,
Nothing screams more
I'm
in my 50s than not being able to do this.
You know, it's just happened so many times now that I used to panic.
Well, yeah.
And now I'm like, this is
it's
one of
weird
those things
because I just
have
did
no
exactly
control
the same
over.
stuff before.
So we're just gonna yeah, that I know, because I did exactly the same stuff as before too, and then suddenly there you were. So I'm glad that worked. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I was just telling everybody what an incredible conversation we had. And every time someone like you leaves the store, I have to take a minute to just say, wow. Like, I cannot believe I get to meet these interesting people. Oh, thank you. Karen gave us applause. I get to meet these interesting people, and all I have to do is like stay put. I just stay in one spot, and it's like interesting people just come and start these amazing conversations. And we had this great conversation when we were at the store. We were talking about how you are a teacher, you're a teacher librarian, and some of the things that you do to support your students, and some of the choices that you make, and how you play by your own rules. And I don't know how much of that you want to divulge on camera. Oh, look, somebody said something sweet here. Hi, Miss Johnson. Miss seeing your beautiful smiling face daily. Hope you are doing well. Oh, that is so sweet. Um, and I'm not surprised at all, because I think that if I were teaching in your school, I would make my way down to the library and just chat with you too. So thank you for joining us. So can you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I am a high school librarian in Cambridge at a Catholic school, and just a librarian, not a teacher, an educator, I suppose, but I have a master's in library science. I am 53 years old. I have a son who is 22, currently living in Newfoundland. Yeah, I don't know. Did I cover the majors?
No, that's good. That's good. I was just thinking, I am going to be 53 years old, and I have 3 children. And my youngest, Mira, who I don't think you met that day. You met Shafali, who works with me, and she's lovely. But my daughter is that age as well, my youngest one. So we got to talking about, well, let's start
by my own rules.
Do you feel that you play by your own rules? Absolutely, right? And I feel like that's something that we say with more and more confidence as we get older too. It's like, damn straight, I play by my own rules. So, so tell me some of the ways that you feel that you play by your own rules, where you're like, you know what, society kind of
we did touch on them a little bit, just in terms of supporting the LGBTQ and working in a Catholic environment. Sometimes we're given guidelines in terms of ways that we should be doing things. And I do, I don't know, should I be saying this publicly? I'm not sure. Try to push those limits a little bit. I'd never in a way that would get things into trouble or anything major, but like, yeah, I might have been ordering books with LGBTQ themes before we put up the pride flag and before we do that kind of stuff. And just like letting the kids know what was there without making a big deal about it.
Yeah. And that's so important. I know we do have guidelines that we all need to follow depending on whatever realm we're in, but especially when you come from a teaching background,
it's not that, I mean, I respect the environment that I work in, for sure. They need, right? but it's about letting the kids know that they're accepted and that they are wonderful exactly the way God made them, which I kind of think is the way Jesus would have wanted it to be, but that might be my
Yeah.
personal opinion. That is not the opinion of no, no.
You're not speaking for the whole board. Okay. Just that we know that. I actually feel, I don't know why my nose is so itchy. I feel the same way with our customers who come into the store. We have women of all shapes and sizes and all times of their life. And it can sometimes feel like there's not space for whoever they are in that moment, whatever they look like in that moment. And I try to do the same thing, to be like, this is the body
Well,
Jesus
yeah,
gave you, or whoever it is that you believe in.
exactly. It
That's
seems
where
very
you got this body
obvious.
from. And why not
I think
revel
I
in it?
can't remember how old I was when I figured out. I mean, you could spend your whole life dieting and trying to look one way, and then all of a sudden look at your family and realize, wait a second. No,
I know. I've told this story before and it's a little morbid, but it just really struck a chord with me. So my grandmother, God bless her soul, passed away in her late 80s from cancer. It was not nice, but she she wasn't in pain. It was good. But she had always had really big hips, and she was very pear-shaped. And I never thought anything of it. Like, that's just who my grandmother was. Um, and then she really started losing weight, as you know, as the cancer progressed. And I remember thinking, when she was just a slip of a person towards the end, she still had big hips. And I was like, okay. So if even that cannot get the
yes,
fat off
exactly.
your hips, that fat's not
I
going
have like
anywhere.
a
That is
strange
who you
situation
are.
in that my mother is a tiny little Italian woman, and my sister looks just like her. She is built like her. And if I stand next to my mother and my sister and all of my aunts and my grandmother when she was alive, I am head and shoulders above everybody. I mean, I am very white. I am very,
Oh, goodness.
guess who looks like her dad? But if I stand in that family, I look just like them. And it just,
Uh,
like, a light bulb went
uh,
off one day. Like, I can't try to be something that I'm not. These are the people I look like. I can do the best with what I've got, but here it is.
yeah. 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 And I can't remember if it was you or it was another lady I was talking to, probably the same day. I got into a lot of interesting conversations that day. So speaking of, this is what you get, whatever you're born with. So lately, there have been a lot of people
No,
using filters on
no.
Instagram, and even some store owners that was I talking to you about this? Maybe not. Okay. So there's another store owner that I know, and I follow her stories. And I noticed one day that she had this incredible tan. And I'm like, oh, she must have gone somewhere. And then I saw at the top of her post, it said, this video was taken, whatever, using the tanning feature. So I was talking to my daughter Mira about it. She goes, oh yeah, Mom, there's all kinds of filters. And she took a picture of me that made me look like a supermodel. Everything was like this and like this and like this. It was just incredible. And what it made me think was, well, if anybody can look that great, nobody else can look like me, right? That
That's
there's
true.
only one of this. There is no filter
That's
to
true.
achieve
We can
this.
only be
So
ourselves.
why not revel in it? Yeah, absolutely. And
True.
even if you could be someone else, then you would be someone else. Like, you would be the same as everyone else. It wouldn't be you. Yeah. So
Yeah, never
that
put a
was kind of a
filter
big
on.
epiphany for me when I saw what a camera can do to you. But yeah, no, I don't either. I just
Did
think,
get lipstick,
nah.
but
I'm
also,
lucky.
do you
You're
saw
lucky
how
if
I
you get
tried to join
lipstick.
this? Like, I don't know where the filters are. I can't add a GIF in here or anything
No,
either. I don't
I
know.
don't know where the filters are either. No, no, but I'm sure some people are. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the things. Is there something or an experience that made you really start to play by your own rules? I know you talked about recognizing that, the body that you have is the body that you're born with, and seeing yourself next to your family really, hit home for you.
Yes.
But would you say, and I kind of already know the answer, so this is a very leading question. Is there
I
an
would say in the
experience or set
past
of
few
experiences
years,
that
a lot
also
of
helped you
things
form
have
your ways?
changed in terms of how I dress and how I think about shopping in general. I think the pandemic changed a lot of us in a number of ways. For one thing, I'll say I sold my house and moved into this apartment in Cambridge, and which then meant I had a little bit of money because for years I was a single parent and I didn't have extra money to do things for myself. But
Mm-hmm.
then I had a little bit of money and I could look at shopping in a different way. And I started looking at slow shopping and slow fashion and that kind of stuff, and started thinking more about the making ethical
Mm-hmm.
choices in what I was doing. I started volunteering at a place called Wig in
Mm-hmm.
Cambridge, which is just about to close, unfortunately, but has just been an
Mm-hmm.
incredible experience in terms of the women I've met and what I've learned about fashion. Um, WIG stands for
So what does WIG stand for again?
Women's International Gift Gallery. More importantly, it was a social enterprise, or it still is for the
Oh.
next week or so, that supports the YWCA in Cambridge. So it's while it's a store and it sells things, it's not
Oh.
profit making. Any profit that they get goes into the YWCA, which is just incredible. So it was a way to volunteering there was a way to
Mm-hmm.
support women in the community without like doing a different sort of volunteering job, and just a really special place. And they're, in terms of their
Mm-hmm.
stock and the things that they had, they really tried to focus on female designers, Canadian female designers, Canadian female designers that were a little bit more ethical in their choices. Like you have the Bryn Walker and the, I think you said you're carrying Terrera now. We had those things as well. And I just learned a
Yes.
lot, and from there started doing
Yeah.
more learning about the kinds of places I could be shopping and where I wanted to put my money. Where I wanted to put my money was very important to me, that it wasn't necessarily going to go to like
Mm-hmm.
Reitman's. It was going to go somewhere where I felt like I wanted to make a difference. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, you're voting for the world you want every time you spend your money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
somehow, someone asked me this today, and I don't know how I found you,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
somewhere in that process, I found you as well, and was just completely thrilled with that experience. So all of those things were happening to me, and I was at home here, like I said, sold the house, and I'm living in this apartment. My son's off at university, and then the pandemic hits, and he comes home, and now we're in this 2-bedroom apartment, just the two of us, and he's just coming out
Uh,
of the
yeah.
those awful teenage years where I said all the time he needed a narrator, really. Like, I don't know, he just kind of like growled at me all the time. Like, I mean, where we always sort of got along, we weren't connecting super well at that stage. Anyway, off he comes back from university, and we're stuck in this apartment together,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets me to sit down to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. And at first,
Mira has been trying to get me to watch that for so long, and it's not that I don't
well,
want
there
to.
was
I
nothing
really
else
do
to do,
want to. I think I
right?
need someone to turn
There
it
was
on and sit me
nothing
down.
else to do. So I was like, fine, I will sit down because he's loved this show for years. And so I sat down and watched drag with him. And in the beginning, I was like, I don't get this. How do they see out of those? What the hell is going on here? I don't know about this. And then at some
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
something clicked for me. And I'll say the first thing I got out of it was joy. Like in a part of our lives where it was difficult. I mean, I had a lot of anxiety around the pandemic in terms of like, I just remember in the beginning, like, am I going to get paid? You think every time you touch a doorknob, you're going to get sick. Like everything was so heightened. And then there was
Yeah.
something that was just joy.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden I enjoyed it. And then it became part of our daily thing that we would do together. And every night we would like, we're very focused on food as well, also really like, and we would always like get our dinner together and sit down and start watching the episodes. And he took me through like the whole history. Oh,
So, okay. So before, for
Can I
anybody who
explain it? I
doesn't know
mean, it's a
what RuPaul's
reality
Drag
show,
Race
and I
is,
can't
it's a TV
believe that I'm
show.
watching
Can
a
you
reality
explain it?
show. But it brings on drag queens, and they compete to be the best every season. And I mean, at the end of it all, I really don't care who wins. It's the journey for me. The journey and meeting all these incredible people and seeing what they
Right,
can do. The
right.
artistry
Yeah.
is just incredible in terms of their makeup and their outfits, and it's all just so much fun. And I just, yeah, I love the whole thing. So it became something that was bringing me joy in the pandemic. It was also bringing me closer to my kid. So it's created like a bond between us. So now he's living in Newfoundland, but the new episodes of
Mhm.
RuPaul are on Friday nights, and we sit down and we watch the shows. So he's watching in his apartment and I'm watching in mine, and we're texting each other back and full time about what's happening. So it
Aw.
really has provided something between us. And then as the world sort of started opening up, we started going to live drag things all the time. Tons. Yeah.
And you know, it's
I mean,
surprising how many of those there are, right? Tons. Yeah, there's one just, I think we were telling you down the road from our store
yeah,
at Martello's, they have a drag brunch. It's fairly often. You'd have to look it up how often it is, but yeah, like it's amazing the community that's out
I don't
there
know what the
in
word
the
is, but
drag
community.
arena.
Community. It's a
I
sisterhood,
don't know.
really. It's a sisterhood, and
I don't know
I
either.
love the sisterhood. So,
Community.
I mean,
Yeah.
I knew the
Oh, nice.
queens from TV, and knowing the queens from TV is fun, and I do enjoy going out to see them when they come through town in whatever way that they do. There is one coming in Friday night at, I was saying before, at Bridgeworks Detox, which is exciting. It's always exciting when the queens come through that have been on TV, but I also love my local drag community. Like the local queens, I just think it's fantastic to get to know these personalities and to see all these people and the incredible things they're doing in our towns. Like, so I come to Hamilton quite often to do that, and I often go to Guelph to see the Dollhouse Events crew. I absolutely love them. I think at some point Violet was watching this, which was pretty cool because I love going to see Ultraviolet and Antique Doll. I think they're so great. But Karma Chameleon. Mhm.
So when you go to a show, for those of us
Oh,
who've never been, I show up
joy.
somewhere. What
You're
do I
going to
see?
see joy. um, yeah, it's hard to explain, but I know I
Yeah.
brought people from work who had never seen drag before in their lives, and they were like, I totally understand why you see this. It's like such an accepting, celebratory environment where everybody in the room is sort of on the same page. Like we're all there
Yeah.
to
I could
experience
see
the
that.
joy together. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just find everything to be so accepting of
Hmm.
everything. They're accepting of gender, they're accepting of different sexualities, colors, sizes. You will see everybody of every combination in the room.
You know, and it's interesting you called it a sisterhood because wouldn't it be nice if that sisterhood just generally existed? You know, that every time you bumped
Yeah.
into, I mean, ideally any person, but even let's
Mm-hmm.
just say a woman or, you know, someone who identifies as female or whatever, that you could trust that there would be this sisterhood where they would be, you know, so excited for your
Yeah.
successes
Yeah.
and you could be excited for their successes and that's all it was about. Like that whole competition or, you know, will I be enough would
Yes.
be
Yeah.
gone. It would be
And I
like,
see
this
that.
is
I
who
mean,
you are in this
obviously,
moment
like,
and I love you
I
for it.
mean, there's some, I'm sure, some petty
Yeah.
stuff that happens between drag queens. And yes, it happens on the show. It's not what I focus on. What I focus on is the sisterhood. And I love hearing the stories of
Yeah.
how they grew up and how they found acceptance. And those things I think are beautiful. And I think in the pandemic, there was also so many things. I mean, I keep saying in the pandemic, like we're not still in one, but like when we were in lockdown in our homes, but there were so many things happening in the world that I felt like were tearing us apart and that still are. But I saw in this show, like I saw all those things and I saw people
Yes.
from different countries and different worlds and different parts of America who were just so accepting of each other, no questions asked, and celebrating each other in ways that I just think that are so beautiful, without like they're not tearing each other down, not but really
Mm-hmm.
really loving each other on a level that, like you said, I would love to see the
Yeah.
whole world operate like that. It's certainly how I operate. I love sisterhood of the traveling.
Yeah.
I love it, Claire. I love it.
Mhm. Yeah. I think, and
Yes,
actually,
yes, I
she also said, "Love you and love RuPaul's Drag Race." Okay, so has that experience of the drag community, how has it changed your everyday life? Is there something that you do
so
differently or try
and
to do differently
unbelievably,
based
I
on
mean,
what
with
you've
all
learned
of the
from
other things,
watching and
like
experiencing that community?
drag is just so close to my heart and has touched me in so many ways that then, yes, that expanded and that continued. So taking from joy and connecting with my kid and in all of those, the sisterhood and seeing that beauty, then I started to see like the empowering part of drag and the ways that, like, I mean, if you think about it, like these men who dress like women and they are beautiful, and I'm like, why don't I feel like that? Why don't I feel
Mm,
like that in my everyday life? And I started bringing that lesson in
yeah.
for me. There's some important things on the show that when RuPaul talks to the queens, she often says that because sometimes like drag is like a persona. So the drag person that they dress as usually has a
Right.
character and a style of their own that may be very separate from who they are as a person. I certainly know drag queens who are very introverted, but super extroverted when they're on stage, which actually I'm kind of like that too. So, but they bring this and then they bring that
Yeah, me
persona with
too.
them,
Me
but
too.
they won't necessarily feel that in their regular lives. And RuPaul will say, like, you're letting like your personal demons
Uh-huh.
get to you, kind of thing. And she says the power that's available to you in drag is also available to you every day. And I was like, it's also available to me. That's also available to me. That I can feel like, and another
Yeah.
like really famous thing that she says is, we're all born naked and the rest is drag. I really started bringing that into everyday life. Every day is a little bit of a performance. And how do I want to dress for that performance today? And I want to
Yeah.
bring in some more creative elements and some things that I always felt like I'm going to feel stupid if I wear that. Like I feel really silly if I wear this. And maybe I should show
Yeah.
you some of the things I've worn out in public. But like head wrap.
Oh, you definitely should. And
Yes.
kudos to you for wearing fun things. Let me show you my fun, crazy thing. Hold on. Okay.
Oh my
I've
God, I
shown it
love
on our
it.
soup thing. I don't know
I
if
love it.
everybody's seen it. This is my fun,
Yes.
crazy thing,
Yeah, so I
right?
just started
Because
incorporating
you
those
only live
things,
once.
and I was wearing
Hmm.
them to drag shows to start, but now I've kind of started bringing them into everyday life. Like, why would I just save this for this opportunity? And I want to be seen like this all the time. You know, there's more sparkle and there's more pizzazz in the things that I'm doing. And yeah, it just sort of changed how I thought
Yeah.
about clothes and what I could wear. And the thing is too, like I
I
said,
was,
drag queens can be, they're men. So some of them are quite large and they are beautiful women and they're putting things on that I would have never put on. But now I'm like, I don't care if people see my arms. Or I wore a bodycon dress the other day. I've never worn anything that wasn't like, I fit and flare is my favorite. Fit and flare dress, but I wore a bodycon dress and I was like, I feel
Mhm.
good. Like I'm starting to feel something different. And it's from watching
Yeah.
them. It's from
Well, and you just, I'm still processing the things that you're saying because when you said, yeah, like, what is the difference between what,
yeah.
when one feels fabulous? what is it exactly that's making them
Yep.
fabulous?
Yeah.
It's not the
And it's a
clothes,
power.
it's the
It's an
mindset, right?
empowering feeling. And it is something that you can sort of like bring into your own life.
Yeah. And I would imagine that probably less so now, but in the past, if somebody wanted to present themselves as, a drag queen,
Hmm.
for that moment, they would have been setting themselves up for a lot of judgment. Maybe less so now, ever so slightly,
For
but
sure.
definitely I can think 20, 25 years ago, it would have been bad, right? And you would have to have the confidence to say, but this is who I want to be today, regardless of what you think about it. And
Yeah.
that is something that all women can learn from, is yeah. And like you said, we maybe take it for granted that we are, we are women. Um, Whereas if somebody didn't already come with all of this and they had to put it on, they would really appreciate it, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Um, and it,
Yep.
it does force you to kind of
Yeah,
appreciate
for
what you've
sure. I
already
still don't know
got
how to do
and you
makeup
didn't
though.
have to put
I'll be honest.
on. I, it's fine. I often don't wear makeup, and it's not because I mean I have nothing against makeup. That'd be great. If I had time every day, I would definitely have fun putting on makeup. But for me, that's kind of like when you said like you're as fabulous as you feel. When I have makeup on, I feel fabulous. When I don't have makeup on, also feel fabulous because that's what I've got for today. And it is a mindset,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah,
you
absolutely. Which is also
can think what you
fine.
want. This is what you
Wish
get.
I could do some of the things that they can do, but maybe I'll play with that
Yeah.
stuff later.
Well, and and you can maybe one day, or you'll play with it and you'll show up one day like that, or you'll show up one day differently.
Yeah,
And what does it
yeah. As
matter?
long as it
Like
feels
it's
empowering.
as long as it's bringing you joy.
Yeah, it is. I just think
That's it.
I just think it's really
Empowering. That
neat.
is
And
the
I'm sure I'm not
word.
the only person who's had this experience, but to be like a cisgendered straight woman who is watching this show and getting these lessons from it and being able to share in a community like very respectfully. I love what they are able to do, and I'm so grateful
Hmm.
that I get to enjoy and to be in their presence and learn from them. I've been very grateful. It was kind of a neat experience. My son and I actually
Hmm.
went to DragCon last year in Los Angeles, and I was able to tell some of the queens in
Wow.
person, like what they meant to me and the things that like they brought into my life, which was really special. I thought I got to do that at least once.
Hmm. No, that's amazing. And yeah, I feel like there are so many lessons out there for us to learn. You just have to open your eyes to them. And otherwise, we just get caught up in the stuff of it all, right? The meeting expectations and the doing the things, all the
Yeah.
things that we're supposed to do. And I could see how breaking free of those rules would bring joy, right? To just say, "Hmm, today, not so much. I'm going to be me in whatever me looks like today." So if you, given all of that, had some advice for other people who might be watching, what advice would you give? And it's tough.
At
It's a
the
tough question.
end of
But what would you
every
say
show,
would be
RuPaul
useful?
ends by saying, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? And I think that is the best lesson there is to learn. It was one of the first things that I clocked and was like, oh, just love yourself. Be really easy with yourself. We are all walking around in these meat suits and like just have fun with it. Love yourself for who you are. Don't spend your whole life trying to be something that you're
Yeah.
not. Yep.
Yeah. That is such great advice. So I am happy to tell everyone who's
Yes, I
watching right
am.
now
I'm going to
that you are
bring
going to be joining
two
me for a
ladies
playing
from
dress up
WIG
episode with
because
some
we've
of your
been
friends.
spending every Saturday morning together for the last two and a
Uh-huh.
half years or so, doing like I hope that we provide the amount of joy that you did in doing a try on at your store, because like just to make people feel beautiful, that's what I hope we've been doing. So I think it will be a fun bonding experience for the three of us too.
I hope so. And I look forward to it. I love just literally playing dress up. That's where I find my joy, where I'm like, I can see who
Yeah,
you are and
yeah,
I can see how
yeah,
fabulous you
exactly. It's
are.
so much.
How am I going to get you to see it? Mhm. It's so much fun. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and on such short notice giving me your Wednesday evening. I look
Yes, thank
forward
you
to
so
seeing you again at
much.
the store and definitely look forward to see you for playing dress
Okay, you
up.
too. I don't know how to
Thank you
end
so much.
this.
Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye. I'm going to end it. You don't have to do